The most valuable piece of information is effective communication. This is very important. We don't just use our mouth to communicate, but body language, symbols, how we communicate send specific messages. Chapter 1 deals with respect and plays a big role in our lives today. Everyone has a different perception in life. Our physical appearance may not be somewhat. I think I sound like I'm reading. I do? Okay. Take you off of mute.
I was like, oh, you can't fucking hear me. Try to break it up a little bit, all right?
That's my husband saying. He said I'm doing it so fast.
You want
So,
me to go first?
yeah, you can.
All right, let me go. Mute yourself.
Mhm.
All right, I'm going to start, okay? I've learned a great deal in chapters 1 through 4. Some of the things I've learned include communication has a purpose, the effects of perception, linguistic sensitivity, and sending nonverbal messages. When it comes to communications has a purpose, I've learned that communications has so many different branches to itself. People will use communications to develop themselves, meet social needs, develop, maintain their relationships, exchange information, and influence others. For example, people use all different types of communication every single day. When you're in a business setting, you'll use communications to exchange information and influence others. When you're in a more personal situation, you use it to meet your social needs, and you'll use it to also develop and maintain a relationship. When it comes to developing yourself, fuck, I hate this. I hate this. How did it look so far? Bad or good? I can't hear you. You're on mute. I can't hear you. You're on mute. Unmute yourself.
You looked it good. It was like Kenny sent me his video, and only thing about his video is that he's so like nonchalant and like don't have no spunk or anything in it. Just like dead
Did
life.
I look like I was reading, or did I look okay?
You look okay.
All right.
You can't,
I'm
you,
going to try again and keep going, okay?
you can't really tell if you're reading or not with you. It's like the way that you talk. You might think that you're reading, but then you're not sure.
All right. All right, I'm going to go again, okay?
Okay.
Mute yourself.
Yeah.
I've learned a great deal in chapters 1 through 4. Some of the things I've learned include communications has a purpose, the effects of perception, linguistic sensitivity, and sending nonverbal messages. When it comes to communications has a purpose, I learned that there's so many different branches to communication. People will use communications to develop themselves, they'll use it to meet their social needs, they use it to exchange information, they use it to develop and maintain friendships and to maintain their relationships. They also use it to influence others. For example, my daily life, every single day, I use all different types of communications. In my business, I use it to exchange information, and I also use it to influence others. On a more personal level, I use it for my social needs. I enjoy conversation. I enjoy meeting different individuals and, whatnot. I also use it to develop myself, and, I enjoy learning who I am. And the more I use communication, the better I find that I am. The effects of perception, I learned that depending on if you have high self-esteem versus low self-esteem, it really can affect communication greatly. When you have a high self-esteem, you're going to engage in positive self-talk. You're going to tell yourself you know you can do it. If you have a low self-esteem, you might be more on the negative side and, insecure, which will really affect your communication in a negative way. For example, I find that sometimes I really can get negative about the way I do certain things, or if I'm not doing it well enough, which really affects the perception. And if I perhaps was a little bit more positive sometimes, as a whole, it probably would turn out a little bit better. Linguistic sensitivity, I really found that I learned a lot in that chapter. I found that, you know, when you pick languages and symbols, you really need to make sure the interests and the knowledge and the attitude are kind of geared towards, that's just, I'm really fucking up. I'm really just going over. I'm like, let me start over again, okay? All right? Is it good or is it bad? I can't hear you, so yes, no, maybe so.
Someone is like you're kind of long actually. I think that was over more than 3 minutes. How many minutes did you want?
Okay, let me try again. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna run through. I'm gonna be good this time, okay?
But I think he'll be more trying to sit here and figure out, is she reading or what?
All right, let me try again. I love to talk. All right, I'm gonna go again. I've learned a great deal in chapters 1 through 4. Some of the things I've learned include communications has a purpose, the effects of perception, linguistic sensitivity, and sending nonverbal messages. When it comes to communications has a purpose, I learned that there's so much more to communications than just the actual communications. I've learned that, you know, you can use communications to develop yourself, you can use it to meet social needs, develop and maintain relationships, exchange information, and influence others. For example, in my daily life, I use all types of communication. When I'm working, I'll use communications to exchange information, and I'll also use it to influence others. People will use communications on a social level as well. We enjoy, you know, conversation. We enjoy meeting other people and engaging in different types of conversation. Communication is extremely important, and these different branches of communication are extremely important as well. Perception, I learned that there's the two main types, I'm starting over again, and I'm not even looking at you. I'm just going to start over again. Don't even no. I promise this time will be good. I've learned a great deal in chapters 1 through 4. Some of the things I've learned include communications has a purpose, the effects of perception, linguistic sensitivity, and sending nonverbal messages. Communications has a purpose. I've learned that there's all different types of communications. People will use communications to develop themselves. They'll use it to meet social needs, to develop and maintain their relationships, to exchange information, and to influence others. For example, I will use all different types of communication throughout my day. When I'm in a business setting, I'll use communication to exchange information and influence others. When I'm in more of a personal setting, I'll use it to develop myself and to also meet my social needs. People enjoy communicating. When it comes to developing themselves, they enjoy learning about themselves. And when it comes to social needs, we enjoy having conversations with different people and getting to know others. The effects of perception, I learned that there's high self-esteem and then there's low self-esteem. Depending on the self-esteem, it really can affect your communication greatly. When you have a low self-esteem, your perception of oneself is going to be completely negative. When you have a high self-esteem, you're going to be positive and you're going to tell yourself you know you can do it. For example, I make sure that I keep a high self-esteem when I'm doing something. If I have a negative thought in my head, I completely get rid of it. That way I know that my perception is going to be a good one, not a negative one. Linguistic sensitivity I found extremely interesting. It's really important to pick languages and different symbols that people can understand. You want to make sure you pick vocabulary that your listeners are able to understand. You want to be careful when you're using jargon. And also, when it comes to slang, you want to use it when it's appropriate. Depending on your audience and the type of people you're around, you want to make sure that when you're speaking and the language that you're using is not offensive, that they're able to understand, and they're also able to engage in the conversation as well. Lastly, sending nonverbal messages. It's extremely important that when you're talking, you're also aware of your nonverbal cues. you're always communicating non-verbally. So you just want to be conscious of your body, your space, your self-presentation clues. You don't want your non-verbal cues to distract from the message. For example, when I talk sometimes, I might play with my hair, I might move my arms around, I might twist or turn. That can be distracting to my listeners. Those are my nonverbal messages. I need to keep those in check and be careful that I'm aware of my nonverbal messages and what I'm doing. To conclude this, I've learned so much in chapters 1 through 4, and I've learned that this has certainly helped with the way I communicate with people. Done! Horrible?
It was okay. You can see where your eyes were kind of like reading some stuff, but other like once you see what you trying to see, then you go back into your conversation.
Do you think I should go through it again, or you want to go, or?
No, I think it's fine when you replay it if you want to replay it now.
No, I'm fine. You go, and I mean, worst case, I can always edit. I can always do it again later. So, alrighty.
Okay.
I just don't want to get a 0. I mean, at the end of the day, I really give me a B or a C. I'm doing well in the other stuff.
Make sure you do your other the topics and send it to me.
Yeah, and I'm keeping up on those, so I'm not completely worried. All right, you want to go now?
Okay, you ready? You ready? Okay. What I learned in chapters 1 through 4 is information. What I learned in chapter 1 through 4 is effective communication is very important. It's a valuable piece of information. We don't just use our mouth or body language to communicate. We use symbols, how we send specific messages. Oh shit. Trying to kind of put it in my own words so it won't look like I'm reading. What I learned in chapters 1 through 4 is effective communication is very important. It is a valuable piece of information. We don't just use our mouth to communicate, but body language and symbols, how we communicate send specific messages. I learned in chapter 1 that respect plays a big role in our life. Everyone has different perspectives in life. Our physical appearance may not be some our phys- damn Kenny, I got to start over.
Does Kenny want to join?
He already did his speech. He didn't know that you could cheat to do the damn test. He's sitting up getting 65s and 70s and 80s. You heard me?
Kenny.
Huh?
Oh, Kenny.
Yeah. He didn't say anything. So, how was I doing before he interrupted me?
Good.
Did I sound like I was reading?
Yeah, just try to, just try to sound like, you're moving your tone around a little bit, you know what I mean? Just don't sound like, sound like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
All right, go.
What I learned in chapters 1 through 4 is effective.
Wait, hold on, hold on. I didn't put my speaker on.
What I learned in chapters 1 through 4 is blah, 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 blah. Kenny said he's headed out the door, have to meet a friend, or I would. Okay. What I learned in chapters 1 through 4 is effective communication is very important. It is a valuable piece of communication. We don't just use our mouth to communicate, but we use body language, symbols, and how we communicate send specific messages. Chapter 1 deals with respect. It plays a big role in our lives today. Everyone has different perceptions in life. Our physical appearance may not be what some people like. The language we speak, such as slang, have people looking at us differently, but respect plays a role in it all. Respect is showing considerations for others' feelings. In my profession, I have to try to gain respect from staff and inmates in order to get them to trust me. Perception is the way that you look at things, and could be another point of view from the way that someone else looks at it. For example, me and my husband, we was returning back on an airplane, and the weather was really bad, and we could not land. We was in the sky for probably about 2 hours. My perception was I rested, I got good sleep. His perception was he was really terrified, and he said he would never ride a plane again. Physical appearance is the way that someone looks on the outside, inside. We judge people every day by about the way that they look. On my job, we might look at someone, automatically assume that they're dirty just because of the way they look, the way they talk. You know, slang is the way that it's improper English. It was developed in certain communities. For example, I talk slang. The side way I grew up at, Pahokee, we use slang or ebonics, we may call it, as another source of information, as our first communication. When I moved to Miami, I was in the 8th grade. I was automatically looked at different. People look at you as ghetto, or they already have you labeled. And I had to learn how to speak proper English around everybody else, because it's it's like you don't fit in wherever you go. If you talk one language and someone talks another language, you don't fit in there. So I had to learn how to speak proper English, and I'm still working on that. My grammar is really bad. I can really say communication is determined by the type of people that we socialize with, the type of conversations that we have, and the places we go make communication count. I finished.
Hey, that was good.
Was it?
It was good.
'Cause I messed up like 3 times.
No, it was good. Kenny just messaged. He's like, girls, don't sweat it. He grades easily. Don't stress. Let me take you off and I'll recall you back and I'm going to edit it. Can you send me your YouTube information again?
Yeah, I don't be remembering that stuff.
I might have it. Let me see. Let me log off. I don't want to, hold on.
What was your speech? Don't stress you. It looks like the last one we always prepare. So.